during the symposium, a lot of Nigerians, if not all, have been made wiser on the achievements of General Babangida's administration. Certainly, governing a country like Nigeria, where you have over 1 million people, and each and every one of us is a president on his own, and would like to do things the way he wants. Certainly, it is not easy to be the president. It is in that context that I want people to see IBB's regime, that during his tenure, he did the best he could for this country. And his lieutenants who were then working for him certainly have contributed a lot. And I'm happy they came here to share their experience. Although my duty is not to thank, to our vote of thanks, I sincerely want to, on my behalf, and on behalf of all the friends and committee members of IBB, to thank the organizers for this symposium. Your action has been most thoughtful. In the afternoon, I was here briefly, and the chairman on that occasion was trying to introduce to welcome General IBB, fondly remembered as Jersey number 10, to the occasion. For me, certainly, it has been a strong association with General Babangida. For the last 50 years or more, we have been living together, working together, doing a lot of things together. But there are such moves which he makes alone. Because I don't qualify to wear that jersey number. So, Mr. President, I want to congratulate you on this occasion, that at least things are now unfolding, and maybe by the time everything is unfolded, Nigeria will see you on a different light. So on this occasion, since it is not a speech making, can we have dinner being served? Thank you.
Admiral Aiko, and my distinguished brothers and friends, first and foremost, express my gratitude to Almighty Allah. It was His grace which brought into being in that period in our history that is the subject of this impressive Royal Republic of Nigeria. What cannot express adequately my indebtedness to the infinite power who singled me out as the working candidate for the trust of leadership of the most important nation on the African continent. This was an honor so eminent, a grace so complete, an opportunity so unique. I can only thank you in the words he has spoken. My Lord, to you is my gratitude, a gratitude appropriate to the majesty of your countenance and the omnipotence of your power. This symposium, which has just come to an end, has been of exceptional interest to me. Your thoughts and insights into the period of our administration have aroused mixed feelings in me. The salient points concerning some of the failures of our administration have only reinforced the eternal and alterable fact of life. We are mere mortals. This I acknowledge completely and wholeheartedly. What your brilliant and unbiased minds have identified as solid achievements has also reinforced another fact of life, indelible and also unalterable. Whoever dares, wins. And to my mind, this latter point, sooner or later, may be identified as the most singular quality of our government. As mortals operating within the broad parameters set by Providence, we are bound to encounter situations and events. Some of these situations and events are and can be anticipated, contemplated, or contrived. Some we do not and cannot easily anticipate or contemplate, let alone contrive. Others are unfathomable and beyond human control. Situation and events invariably generate momentum of their own. They invariably also generated problems that existed for government to solve. Problems come in various forms and dimensions. They fall into several categories. Some are simple with simple solutions. Some are highly ramified but simple to solve. Some are extremely complex, requiring solutions even more complex. Some are, even with the best of efforts, simply unsolvable, being incomprehensible to human mind and human imagination. Problems arising from situations and events, especially of political nature, whether foreseen or unforeseen, whether simple or complex, often come as a problem. So also is their solution. Neither is wholly instantaneous. A solution to a problem began today may, as it unfolds in space and time, take a while to mature. Problems and solutions, the processes, they do have a lifetime and a duration of their own. Some are long, short, or moderate. Our administration was no exception to this general rule. We encountered problems of varying degrees and hues. Many of those problems emanated from process we engineered. So we understood them, and we could and did solve them by the grace of Allah. Others arose from situations we envisaged and could manage fairly well. Others were part of the flow of world events. These we tried in concert with other nations to address with mixed results. Others defy explanation, and they also defy solutions. On the whole, we witnessed the most complex and the most dramatic moments of the century that has just ended. Situations and events kept unfolding throughout that period with unyielding and breathtaking rapidity, changing everything and everybody everywhere in a manner never before experienced, in a manner so thorough and so comprehensive. The tranquil period in global affairs in which things could be taken for granted and predictions fairly accurate suddenly gave way to a climate that was changing at cosmic speed. One needs to remember the momentous events leading to the collapse of the Soviet Union and sudden transformation of all of Eastern Europe. Those earth-shaking events led to instant dissolution of ideologies and total disruption of the political and economic stages of the world. It was as though Providence had taken the world unaware. The dynamics of global politics changed, world economy changed, even the language and nuances of communication between nations changed dramatically. In short, our era was in truth the era in which only the brave could cope. That was the supreme challenge we had to cope with, and it was never an easy task. Every day brought a new situation, and every new situation required new response. Response must not only be as rapid as the challenge, but also as thorough and as breathtaking. I can say with all the emphasis at my disposal and with utmost humility that we waded through the turbulence and vagaries of the time with much courage and fortitude. We responded appropriately. Critics may accuse us of failure, whether of conception or execution, or of something else. However, I venture to say that they would labor in vain to accuse us of not daring in the face of daunting and difficult challenges, or of failure of nerve when horizons change so instantaneously, so constantly and so profoundly. We took decisions that were difficult and painful and hazardous. Many of those decisions have matured and are resolved. Others are still unfolding. Statecraft, in essence, is about taking decisions and solving problems. Both require courage, resolve, and nerve, but more especially, foresight and fortitude. Statecraft is also above all concerned with engineering. Permit me to say that of all tasks, none is more intricate, more involving, and at the end of the day more rewarding than engineering a nation. Here, many factors of varying degrees and complexities converge. The needs, the hopes, the fears, the peculiarities of individuals and groups must be delicately woven into the wider web of the larger society, which in turn must blend neatly and accurately into the wider web of the supreme interest of the nation. The ultimate aim of engineering in the manner we have attempted was very clear. It is to chart a new course for a nation towards a new environment, consciously and carefully designed in anticipation of a future that can be understood, mastered, and managed. Engineering a nation is in reality inventing the future. Everything has to be harnessed and focused. Human resources, material resources, moral resources, all must be brought into play. Over and above all, the psychology of the nation must be redirected and refocused. There exists a world of difference between engineering a nation and ruling it. I never wished to rule Nigeria, and I never did. My My goal was to engineer it. Things must be redesigned, even reinvented. There must be a conscious, committed movement towards the greater good. Perception, concept, aspiration, goals, objectives must be redefined and approached in a new and better ways and methods. Nigeria, I thought, must overcome the constraints imposed by the past, the fears and hesitations inhibiting the present, and take a bold and giant leap into the future. We must take new initiatives. Some of these initiatives were to assume historic proportions. Our ultimate goal was to strike the best and most beneficial deal for our people and our nation. Our vision was to carry the nation forward in a constructive engagement with destiny. No shortcuts were taken. Hardships were not avoided. Social sciences would perhaps credit us with a scientific approach to statecraft. We first produced original ideas and then tested them against the reality with that statecraft should not be conducted on government. Subsequent developments worldwide have vindicated our stance. Our principal drive towards democracy generated considerable interest within and outside this country. Our people, long denied the freedom to choose, were mesmerized by enthusiasm and euphoria when the opportunity came. The political process was a novel initiative and a calculated risk. We were aware of the value of the initiative and the high cost of failure. Naturally, problems arose as the initiative unfolded. As it grew in leaps bounds, it assumed a life and dimension of its own. Nigeria was on a threshold of a new reality. Our vision was to build a democracy that would deliver. The vision was cognizant of the ever-growing demand that democratic nations must strive to fulfill: human rights, justice, prudence in human and resource management, equitable distribution and dispensation of resources, fairness to minorities, sustainable economic growth, high-quality education, and affordable health rank high among them. I was also aware of the changing landscape of the globe. Information technology was just then assuming a revolutionary proportion. Today it is a pathway to the future. It must be embraced with all the force and emphasis that we can master as a country. But, as it turned out, our vision did not meet the rhythm of time as precisely and perfectly as we required. Democracy must wait, but the price of waiting was high and burdensome. What followed was an earthquake of a scale close to the events of the early years of this great country. We were only a hairbreadth away from the brink. Allah in His infinite mercy gave priority. As the pivot of that political process, I am profoundly sensitive to the unpleasant and regrettable but wholly unintended consequences. I take full responsibility. I am satisfied that I did my best in the circumstances as a mortal working within the will of Almighty Allah. What I expect in return is the understanding and magnanimity of fellow citizens. An observer once commented, when a design ended in miscarriage of justice, when every eye and every ear is witness to general discontent or general satisfaction, it is then a proper time to disentangle confusion and illustrate obscurity, to show when toughness or calamity is right and when it may be expected, and honestly lay before the people what inquiry can gather of the past and conjecture can estimate of the future. Our vision for democracy that endures was only delayed, not destroyed. Our initiative did not die. When the time was right, democracy emerged upon our nation stronger and finer than we had expected. The sacrifice made by Nigeria have been fully rewarded. Nigeria today is a democracy. I'm happy that our vision for which I had invested all of my energy and for which I have charged my colleagues even beyond endurance has been fulfilled. Succession and the time were not as we have envisioned. Yet we have defied the odds and arrived at the goal. By the grace of Allah, we shall continue to be part of the democratic process. Ours was a teamwork. At the beginning, many Nigerians of distinction and conscience were called upon to serve. As the journey progressed, others were also invited. They served in various capacities as ministers, advisors, governors, bureaucrats, commanders in the armed forces and the police, captains of industry, as well as resource persons, counselors, persons of town, and friends of the President and his family. I thank you all for your loyalty and support throughout the most difficult years. You have made a forgettable contribution and sacrifices for the good of our nation. My heart goes out to the brave and noble people of Nigeria. They accepted the trust of their leadership with grace, warmth, and an exceptional sense of duty. So intimate had our relationship developed that they bore the pains of some of our policies with patience and understanding. They were convinced that we meant well. They saw that we had achieved much on their behalf and for their benefit. They were loyal and very friendly. They were appreciative. I thank you all. May Allah bless you all. We work for a Nigeria on a vision predicated on economic reconstruction, social justice, and self-reliance. We work so hard for a greater Nigeria. I am absolutely confident that this will be the very success. May Allah bless each and every one of you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think that was IBB himself. You see, I wanted to raise an observation. I was drafted to be the chairman when I came here. My dear wife, who is not here, has an organization called RAFA. Whatever it is. It is aimed at the protection of women's rights. I look at the whole lineup of this table. No woman. So on behalf of my wife, I'm raising this protest to the organizers of this high table for them to note. So with your permission, I'm going to ask any lady to come and lead us. Where is Auntie Gambo Tawaba? This way. Hajiya Gambo Tawaba, for those of you who might not know her, has been in politics since the inception of APU in 1940. I want to watch it. Hajiya, I'm going to say, yeah, I'm going to Allah.